Hey everyone, I'm back and today we're going to be talking about Donnie Darko, and this movie is directed by Richard Kelly and came out in 2001, I believe. And before I get into the movie itself, I just wanted to mention one tiny quick thing. I watched the theatrical cut, not the director's cut, just to make that clear as to which version I watched. Now with all that being said, let's get into the review. I was kind of blown away by this movie. It's been on my watch list for a while, and I just never got around to watching it, and now I finally have, and I'm happy that I watched it, and it's very interesting. This is a movie that is not made to connect with everybody, but it's not so far out there that it's impossible to get into it if you don't think about it a whole lot. And this is a movie that will ask you to read into it every now and again, but even if you don't read into it, there's still a lot to appreciate about this movie. And I think the performances are great. Jake Gyllenhaal, he really carries this movie, and without him, I don't think this movie would work at all. He really sells this movie, and the dialogue for the characters is very extreme, and when I say extreme, I mean like these characters do not hold back, and they're very well defined, and you really get a sense of who they are just from the way they talk and how they interact with other characters in the movie, and they're just really well written, and they're not all likable people, but I like seeing them on screen, just because they're interesting people to me. And I liked the story of the movie. I liked the plot. The world is going to end in 28 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes, and 12 seconds, according to Frank the Rabbit. And one thing that I wanted to get into were the effects in the movie. While they're a little dated, they don't... You understand what they're going for. It never feels cheesy. It feels as though this is something that is like being communicated very well. And sometimes it will get a little goofy, but it's intentionally goofy. Like, I don't want to give out an example because I don't want to spoil the movie, and I'm just going to try and savor the experience of the movie for when you actually watch it, if you do decide to watch this movie. But the intended emotions that it's going for, I think it works really well. And I thought the soundtrack choices worked pretty well, and they fit with the scene, and they communicated emotions very well that were intentional, or at least I feel as though they were intentional. I forgot to mention this. There's a lot of characters in this movie, but you never lose track as to what is going on, because one, the pacing is kind of slow. Not that it's boring ever, it's always entertaining throughout, but it really does take its time, and I think that worked to the movie's benefit, because you always have an understanding of what is going on, and I really enjoyed the pacing and how this movie really took its time, and nothing felt rushed over. And while I do have a couple issues with it, I do feel as though it fleshed everything out to the point where you understood what was going on. And I'm going to get into my issues really quickly. And this movie does have a time travel element to it, and it doesn't really explain how it works or how time travel is possible. It does go into how it could work, but it doesn't really get into like I don't know, maybe I missed something, but like it doesn't explain everything to the point where like, oh, if you don't understand how time travel works, then the movie's not going to work. But anyways, when they do use time travel towards the end of the movie, I was a little confused as to how that happened. I don't know. There was just something that really confused me as to how it was possible. But you could make up some interpretations as to how it was possible. Maybe something else is going on. But I was just a little confused. And one other thing, without spoiling anything, I have to keep this one really vague, and because like this is a major spoiler. But in conclusion, what happens? Something happens to a character towards the end of the movie. And the way it was presented, I felt as though it was a little sloppy, and it didn't look like how what it was showing actually happened. And I felt as though there may have been like one shot that was missing, or like the way it was presented, it just didn't look convincing. But who knows, maybe it just didn't look good in editing and they just tried to cut around it. And that I could understand, but just watching the movie, it kind of confused me. And that's about all I have to say about Donnie Darko in a spoiler-free discussion. If I were to spoil the whole movie, I would have a lot more to talk about, but this is about all I can say in a spoiler-free review, and I think it's great. The characters are great. The dialogue given to them is very well written, even though it is kind of extreme and they like insult people like it's how normal people talk, but it feels natural at the very least. Like it's within these characters to say these things, and they never feel as though like all of these characters blend together like they're all the same character. I felt as though I was watching different characters while they were talking, so I'll give the movie some credit for that. And the story was great. I thought where it went, I like the music choices, and it was really effective, and it had a really great ending without spoiling anything. And I would recommend it. It's not for everybody, but what can I say? It's a cult classic. It got a following over time because it didn't really do well in theaters, but later on people discovered it from what I understand. And apparently there's a sequel called, what was it called? Like, something Darko. I don't even remember it. I never saw it, so I can't really talk about it. And apparently there's a third one in development. Apparently, maybe. I have no idea what they're going to do with that, if that ever happens, but maybe I'll watch it. I might watch the second one day. After that, who knows. But definitely check out Donnie Darko. I think it's great if you're interested. And with all that being said, I'm going to give Donnie Darko an 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of Donnie Darko, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up. And that is, I'm going to try and see The Batman as my next video, but if that doesn't happen, then my next video is going to be for Spider-Man 3. So look forward to that. Either of those videos, whichever one comes first. So look forward to that. But until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.